Okay, we should be live as always. Let's make sure the stream's up. Make sure we can find it on YouTube. No? Not showing. There we go. Okay. We are set up. Going to look over. I threw the QB strategy article on the fantasy football subreddit. I was told it's a good place for small content creators to get their stuff out. Pretty happy with the response. Pretty cool. 11,000 people saw. Got a bunch of subs to the Substack. Appreciate you guys reading. I was stoked with how many people read. Three interesting responses I got. Two that are football related. One that was pretty funny. This dude does not like using AI for images. I guess I shouldn't be like upvoting my own stuff. Maybe I should get rid of that. I don't know. I mean, I don't consciously upload it. I think it just stays upvoted. But two interesting points people made that I thought, we're good. I'm gonna like decide what I want to do with that. The idea that we're gonna jump into another fast puppy here. Two pushbacks that Matt Stafford is too low, not being in the tier 4 guys with like Brock Purdy and Bo Nix and Kyler Murray and Jackson Dart. Maybe that he should have been above Kyler Murray. I think that might be correct. And then the Baker, this one I liked a lot, was that Baker Mayfield should actually be in the tier 4 quarterbacks with Brock and Nix, and ahead of Kyler, ahead of Jackson Dart. I'm super bullish on Baker Mayfield this year, so I thought that was cool. I don't know. Maybe he's right. We'll see. I don't know if I'm going to adjust. I mean, I don't know what adjustments I'm going to make by draft season. Watch. Last 3 picks, last 3 or 4 picks. It's always the last, or 7, which is even worse. I don't know what adjustments I'm going to make by. So we've been taking so much James Cook, and I think James Cook is going to keep getting steam all summer. But I do want to try to mix it up just a little bit because I keep taking him. And then we can get a wide receiver or a running back on the comeback. We're basically locked into one. So maybe this will be an Amon-Ra roster, and we'll just come back around and get a receiver because I haven't been taking him enough, and he's really safe. And I love Goff this year, so I like stacking him. And then at the 4-5 turn, you can take Jamison Williams and get a pretty nice Goff roster going. So we'll do that. But yeah, so is Baker a little bit too low? I don't know. He's my favorite 0 QB target, so I like the idea that they were telling me I need to pull him up. Maybe that's true. Stafford, my reasoning was Stafford, and I figured that Stafford and Mahomes are going to be my 2 most controversial because I have Mahomes down at like QB 20-something, which just means I'm not taking him because I don't know if he's going to play the whole year. He's going in the 8th round. He's going ahead of Brock Purdy and Bo Nix, which I think is kind of crazy. He's going right behind the Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, Dak Prescott tier. I'm absolutely not doing it under any circumstances. I thought that would be more controversial. For Stafford, it's more like, dude, they had a lot of plays where they audibled into those short yardage touchdowns to Devontae Adams, and I think that can certainly happen again. It just seemed like a little bit fluky, a little bit running hot. Like he was not a quarterback one the season before this, and then up to that point in the season, then he sort of broke out and exploded in the second half of the year. Yeah, I just don't want to necessarily bet on that happening again, and I don't want to bet on their defense is so much better now. I just wonder if they're not going to need to air it out as much. Okay, so like we said, we're going to go with the Amon-Ra start. I prefer James Cook. I think Christian McCaffrey just has such a higher ceiling, but I have not been taking Amon-Ra at range here at all. So yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm just fading Matt Stafford a little bit. I would so much rather, again, Purdy and Nix, and certainly that tier of guys that I have a tier higher than all of them. And I would prefer Jackson Dart. He was the quarterback 1 in points per game if you take out his 1-point performance against the Vikings. They're saying they're giving him the Lamar Jackson usage as far as rushing, and that's really appealing to me. So I think I'm chasing more those guys in that back end QB1 range that I think have real upside and could really, really shake your league up. Stafford feels kind of boring to me. Okay, so we're going to end up with an A-Chain or Derrick Henry roster. If we have to choose between the two of them, I chose Derrick Henry over A-Chain the last time. I think I'm going to take A-Chain this time. I think they're pretty similar bets. I just think Derrick Henry with the half PPR has more touchdown upside. So yeah, so Stafford's just a guy that I think is kind of a boring pick. I don't see him going like 22 points a game again. I know he was tied for second in points per game in 2025. Um, I don't think he repeats that. So that's all. I think there's some regression coming with running hot on touchdowns. I think the defense is too good for them to have to pass a lot. I think it's going to be the Corum and Kyron show anytime they can do it. That defense, dude, if Aaron Donald comes back, they're just not going to really need points. They're not going to be chasing points. So that's why I have Stafford low. But I thought it was a valid pushback. Like, should you really have Kyler above him? I just like Kyler because he has rushing upside and a really good offense around him, and O'Connell likes to pass in the red zone. Um, I would prefer that kind of bet where if it hits, like you might hit really big with Kyler. But I would prefer Purdy. I would prefer Nix. I would prefer Jackson Dart. So that was interesting. I had one guy who I suspect was a graphics designer who was really upset that I used AI to generate images and said, I'm wondering what else you use AI for. Do you write using AI? No, I absolutely do not write using AI. There's no point in writing using AI. The whole point of writing is to find your voice, to be interesting, to be unique, and AI kind of negates all that. He was so worked up though, man. And I don't know, I guess his implication was I'm supposed to pay an artist to do graphics while I'm like, trying to get off the ground. I'm supposed to take on overhead. Nah, I didn't get it. Okay, this is a weird one. I like the value on Devonta Smith here is pretty good. I'm hoping Zay Flowers goes. Um, we've been taking a lot of Emeka Egbuka and T. Higgins. Maybe I will take a Zay Flowers here and try to stack him up with Lamar and hope Jacobs or Javonte Williams is there for us on the come around. Or Olave. We'll do Olave. That's who's there. We'll hope Jacobs and Javonte come back around. But yeah, I don't know. I guess AI is a hot topic online. I didn't really realize that like people feel like you're being disrespectful if you use it to generate an image instead of pay someone to do it for you. I think that's crazy. It takes 2 seconds. It makes a clean looking one. It looks better than if I were to build the tiers myself. I'm not doing it. With the news that Kamara has restructured his contract and he's returning to the Saints, I think you're nuts if you're taking ETN in the third round. I already wasn't taking ETN in the third round. I thought he did not look very good last year, but I certainly am not now that we have that going on. Let your team, let your league mates do that. Take a Kyron Williams or take a Josh Jacobs at this range, or even a Javonte Williams, and bank the more safe bets. Be pretty cool if we get a Josh Jacobs or a Allen here. Probably Josh Jacobs goes here. Oh no, cool. Continuing to crush our run of round 4 Josh Jacobs. That is the start. You know what I actually meant to do? Can I easily move this over? I think I can, right? Okay. How do I like that, right? I wanted my thing to be there. There we go. That is so much better. So you guys aren't dealing with my stupid, you can see my team. But yeah, I was trying to look for what are other content creators doing with the quarterback position. Fantasy football advice, who I actually really like, is just like a dude who sits in front of his screen and talks. I think he's great, though. I've listened to him for years. He seems really set on going elite quarterback only. And then the Fantasy Pros guys were really debating it today. Jake Seeley's a greater late guy, just like he is with every elite onesie, like with tight end and quarterback. I think that's probably the right way to go. And then Debro is a late quarterback guy. I just think the value's so good late at quarterback, but then I sort of have to decide. The next position I'm working on is going to be my tight end tiers. And what do you do? Like, you shouldn't push both of them all the way back to the end of the draft, even though I'm really big on zero tight end and really big on very late quarterback this year. I don't know if you want to necessarily put yourself at a disadvantage, like on that level. Mike Evans said he's not going to come back here, but that is awesome. We didn't get... we didn't get Flowers. I don't like letting it rip on a unstacked Lamar Jackson, even though the price is really good. I just prefer to get stacks here because I'm totally happy with Jared Goff or Tyler Shuck. let's see. Christian Watson to me is a big get right here. I really, really like that. And if not, what we're going to do is we're going to get Jordan Tyson and we're going to throw a double stack Tyler Shuck over here. I like that a lot. Where am I picking again? 66. Yeah. It's probably too cheap for Lamar to be back here. I would rather stack up my roster if I'm going to do that. So we're going to go Christian Watson here. And we can actually get Love with these two guys and maybe get Tucker Kraft in the later rounds. So yeah, so I'm trying to decide with tight ends because I think similar to quarterbacks, I think there are a bunch of guys that are priced fairly. I don't like the prospects of McBride repeating a historical outlier tight end season when he may have a rookie tight end starting later in the year and we don't know who his starting quarterback is. I'm probably going to be very out on him. I do like Brock Bowers, but I prefer him at the 2-3 turn. I'm not taking him above like Nico Collins, Drake London, AJ Brown. Those guys that I think could have like 1,500 yards at receiver. I think that's just a little too hefty to pay of a price. So that's kind of a hang up for me as far as how I'm navigating that part of the draft. Trey McBride I will take in the mid-30s. And then at the 4-5 turn, I do really like Loveland if he falls back there. I have like 9 or 10% Loveland, and I've only been taking him at the turn. So I think that's like a fair price for him. And then Warren in the 5th round in redraft I think is going to be perfectly reasonable. Ooh, there goes Jordan Tyson. That's a bummer. Do we want to take Warren here? Do we want to go with a Parker Washington? I think I want Parker Washington. I think he is going to be the wide receiver 1 in fantasy production for the Jags. And then we will stack him with a guy that I have been debating all week because of these tiers, and Trevor Lawrence. So I like Loveland and Warren at cost. I like Bowers at the 2-3 turn, but I don't like taking him before the back end of wide receiver 1 range, which I have as AJ Brown, Drake London. Hey, I'm playing. I've been here 3 years. My bad. I keep removing people from the free Tendies leagues if I don't hear from them, and I'm trying not to get them bounced. I'm not taking him in front of that tier of guys. Maybe I'm going to end up feeling silly for that. I think what teams are going to do is they're just going to take a corner, and they're going to. This is a great price on Warren for whoever gets him. I think teams are going to put their best corner on Bowers. That's what I really think is going to happen unless they go and get a receiver. I actually think the Raiders are an Ayuk landing spot, so I wouldn't be surprised at all to see him go out and get Brandon Ayuk, which would solve a lot of their problems, or Stephon Diggs or Keenan Allen if he'll play there. Although Keenan said he'll only play in LA. I don't know. I think I'm trepidatious about Bowers. So I don't know how to go about giving advice in that article. I think you're taking him at the right price. I think you're taking him at the right cost. I think if anyone's going to be like a league-wrecking tight end, it's him. But I also think at the 4-5 turn, how much of a downgrade are Loveland and Warren? I don't think that much. Warren is clearly the number 1 target for the Colts. Loveland is, the big hot thing in the fantasy community. I have him in the same tier as McBride and Bowers. So I've got to figure out what I want to do with that so I can put the article out there so I can best advise you guys. We are going to stack Trevor Lawrence with Parker Washington there. Feel really, really good. We have the double hero running back start, Trevor Lawrence, and then 4 wide receivers that I think could absolutely crush. If Tucker Kraft falls back that low, I love that. That's very unlikely. Because of this, so we'll certainly take these guys have been slipping a little bit in here, and I think that's inappropriately priced, especially in best ball. I don't like him in redraft so much, but in best ball, these are a bunch of the dudes that we think are mispriced, or that I think are mispriced right now, or at least priced very fairly for where you're taking them, that I have been taking my swings on. We'll put Blake Corum, Manungai, and then, as always, Slick Rick. Ricky Pearsall has been one of my favorite clicks here. I think because of this build, we're going to do a... so that would have been Kraft. I think I will take Dowdle or Harvey here if I can get them. Or do we want to stick with the heuristic I've been applying that if you, we'll see, okay, this would be like a late 90s Sutton. That would be too good for me to pass up Sutton there, I think. I think. God, that's hard. The heuristic I've been applying when I'm in this range is if you have a double hero RB, you should not take a guy that you're going to like take scores from and feel good about. You should take a guy that if he hits, he's an absolute home run. And for me, that is Blake Corum here. So I think we're going to back these guys up with Blake Corum for that reason. Feel pretty good about that. Yep. So you have Brock Purdy sliding a little bit. I don't mind taking. Well, I know because he's not stacked, and I think we're going to be able to come around and maybe get a nice. Yeah, we can get a nice Tyler Shuck stack going here, or we will take a long hard look at Jared Goff if he's on the board when he comes around. If we want the stack, yeah, we might have to go Goff or Love. Do they share a bye week with Lawrence? 7-6-7. No, we're good to go there. Yeah. Yep. See if Laporta or Dobbins falls. That would be a pretty good price. So for the tight end strategy, do I want to take Sam Laporta or Harold Fannin in the third? It's weird because on paper, or Kyle Pitts in the eighth, in the seventh, God. Laporta or Harold Fannin in the seventh, eighth. They're usually going around there in redraft, and then Kyle Pitts is going in the eighth. They all seem fairly priced to me, but again, you look at the heuristic of greater late at at tight end. You usually do not get that big of a positional advantage from going with one of those guys over one of the back end guys. So then I'm kind of left wondering, is that really worth it? Because Laporta to me, with a Drew Petzig offense in that system, is really, really appealing. And damn it, we do lose Jared Goff there. Just in case we lose Jordan Love, do I want to reach on Tyler Shuck, or do you hope he comes? That's well, no, it's way too early. We're around pick 100. I think I'll just take Laporta or Jordan Love there. I think I want Laporta. I think I want the upside shot, and then we'll see if Shuck comes back around to us or Baker Mayfield. I'm happy to take it cost. And actually Malik Willis, because I do view that as stacking with we'll take Harold Fannin here. I'm going to see if one of those quarterbacks gets back to us because those are all technically stacks for us. Baker's not a stack. Baker's just like a guy I think's underpriced. 117. Yeah, I'd rather not take Malik Willis there, but we will. And so, like, I just took Harold Fannin there. I think Harold Fannin probably leads the Browns in targets, so to me the value proposition's pretty, like, appropriate where he's going. But do I want to just play the historical precedent? And the historical precedent is if you don't get one of those top 3 or 4 guys, just go ahead and comfortably go late, and that's probably the better call. And I really, really like the back-ended tight end this year. So we got to decide what we want to do there. Okay, when's my next pick? Can I possibly take a Willis at 127? No, we'll just take Tyler Shuck. So going in my late tight end targets video, Mark Andrews is going to be my favorite by far. I think he's an incredible value this year. I think Dalton Kincaid has tons of upside if he stays on the field. And then Dallas Goedert, absolute crush for me. He has more expected or more fantasy points per target than Devonta Smith without AJ Brown on the field. And Isaiah Likely for 4 to 6 weeks might have no neighbors, and then for another 4 weeks might have a ramp up period of neighbors. We might get 10 weeks of high end tight end one like usage. Routes run are the number one thing that correlate to tight end scores. So I've got to decide, what do I want to do with that? What do I want to do with tight end this year? If I love going late tight end and I love going late quarterback, it seems like I should be going early on one of them if I'm a reasonable person. And it seems like it's kind of a waste to go late on both unless you're in like a 3 wide receiver, 2 flex league. Our $100 free Tendies leagues are going to be double flex. Get a little bit more value there. Casey Concepcion, I think, is not appropriately valued by the fantasy community yet. I think his value is going to go up when camp opens up. He's a pretty good click right now as things stand. So we're going to go at 127, 138. And take Rashid. I'm happy there, just doubling up with Rashid Shaheed and Travis Hunter. But, oh, they see, yeah, so there goes Goddard. Goddard should be going up there. If Mark Andrews is on the board on the comeback, we'll be pretty interested. But I've been taking Rashid Shaheed a lot at this range. I think he's like a best ball icon. I think people are going to look back on that and go, oh my God. And I think he's going to keep creeping up too. So we will take Mark Andrews if he's there over Travis Hunter. There goes Likely. I do like Tyron Tracy. Jaden Higgins is kind of cheap down there, but there he goes. Jalen Coker. Yeah, we're going to hope for Hunter. I got to chill out on. I've been taking a lot of Omar Cooper. Sounds like he's going to have a little bit of trouble, like, establishing a starting role super early. But that's cool. We're going to get a Travis Hunter, stack him with Trevor Lawrence. And then in 12 picks, I will take a Juwan Johnson when I have Trevor or a Brenton Strange. I would much prefer. We'll see if we can throw in another great tight end here. Brenton Strange is another one for redraft. I'm okay rolling with him as your tight end one. I'm okay rolling with Goddard, Likely. Again, Mark Andrews is by far my favorite back there, but the tier that I'm totally fading, I think, is going to be... I think I'm interested in Fannin, and I'm interested in Laporta in the back end of the 7th, but if it's not Fannin, it's not Laporta in the back end of the 7th, I think I'm just going to punt the position, and then what does that mean? Do we end up getting a bunch of redraft rosters that are like QB 8 through 12 and then tight end 8 through 12? I don't know if that's the right call, so maybe I do need to really think about being more in on the Brock Bowers thing. To me, my favorite picks are Loveland and Warren at the 4-5 turn. And I think it's just going to be that for me, or I'm going to go 0 tight end. And then Tucker Kraft in the 6 seems really, really appealing. So, yeah, it's going to be a weird year because everyone seems so in on Bowers, and we haven't seen it yet, and there's not another competent receiver there, period. It is just Bowers doing his thing, and he is going to be the focal point of the defense, and everyone's saying we're getting a JSN year out of a tight end. Maybe. I think we're going to get a tight end that has to face a bunch of cornerback ones all year. Interesting to see. Jonah Coleman's going a little higher. He's been one of my favorites at this price tag. It seems like people are starting to key onto him a little bit, as they probably should be. I don't think that J.K. Dobbins finishes the year, because J.K. Dobbins has never finished a year, and you should probably be taking Jonah Coleman because he'll get the early down work, and that's awfully worthwhile. Looks like we're going to get the Brenton Strange or Juwan Johnson stack. That's pretty cool. I mean, 2 picks. I guess they could both go. We would take Woody Marks if they did. This guy's got 2 tight ends, so yeah, he's not going to take one. Yeah, we're going to get one or the other. I much prefer Brenton Strange, but I will take Juwan Johnson to stack up with my boy Trevor, because I love Juwan Johnson. I think, or Juwan Johnson. I love Brenton Strange. I think he's a very undervalued player, and if Juwan Johnson falls again, we might just build out a really beefy tight end room. But if not, Tank Bigsby and Dylan Sam. And actually, you know what? We are going to go Alvin Kamara here to stack with Shuck. I think Alvin Kamara is going to be a great riser now that he re-signed. I've been taking him all day in the 180s. I'll take him even a little higher now, even though I figured he was going to re-sign. I think that's just a pick I want to keep making. Let's see if he goes here. This seems like he should be going like in the 140s now that we know he's probably going to get 40, 50 targets this year. Maybe not 40, 50. Maybe that's a lot, but some percentage of carries and targets. Okay, really good room there. I think we probably want another quarterback with these two, even though, like, I don't. It just seems like you should take one. 186 is right on the border for getting Geno or not, so we might be a little tight. I will take Bryce Young if he falls that far. Could try to take Kenyon Sadiq and set up a Geno stack. Do like the price on Isaac Tesla that late? There he goes. If we take Kenyon Sadiq, we're going to try to get Geno too. Because I feel great about A-Chain, Jacobs, Corum, and Kamara is really good. We can go like late round Braylon Allen. I think that wide receiver room could use one more guy. Maybe we'll look late, but this is one of the rare ones where I'll do a 3. I'll do a 3 on each side. There goes Kenyon Sadiq. That's okay. Go AJ Barner just because I think he's so good. Unless is there someone else I'm like really fixated on? Not really. With Geno Smith come back, that's kind of a banger if he does. No tight end. Assuming Josh Jacobs stays out of legal trouble, I think it's such a gift that we've been able to keep pulling him as late as we have been. Okay, Sean Tucker. What late stacks here? No real late stacks. So to me, that's just like a Jerry Jeudy thing. I think there's a good chance he gets traded. There goes Tucker anyway. So yeah, here we'll just pull. I think these two guys are trade candidates. I keep saying it, but I think Dontavian Wicks plays in 2 wide receiver sets for a lot longer than people are assuming in Philly. So I think he's a pretty good late round guy to throw on. Yeah, we're going to do Jerry Jeudy. Good price on Jerry Jeudy. What are we at? 13, 16, two more guys. I'd like to get Braylon Allen here, even though it's pretty far ahead of ADP. The brisket. Could get the brisket. Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders. I don't like guessing who's going to start there, and I don't think they add ceiling to your room. Either way. Probably going to cut it at one draft tonight. I've been trying to do two or three. No new content really dropped today. Don't have a lot of interesting stuff to say. I'm really grateful that you guys took the time to read my stuff on Reddit. Thank you so much. Thank you for subscribing to the Substack. I'll try to keep having interesting content coming out. Try to keep these going every night, unless I'm like super busy or whatever. I am in the middle of a move, but besides that, yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun. I'm learning again. It's hard to, what are you just going to sit there and talk at a screen for an hour with nothing interesting to say? It's kind of a waste of your guys' time. But as articles keep dropping, I will have a lot more to say. Certainly the tight ends one is the next one. I have to sit for a few hours and really work on that. I think Brissett is really well priced back here, and I probably don't even need to take Braylon Allen. Like, Brissett would probably increase my ceiling a little bit more. But I don't have any stacks on Brissett, and he's probably not going to be starting later in the year, and Braylon Allen might hit as a huge handcuff to Breece Hall. We'll see if Brissett comes back. If not, it's not the end of the world. I'm trying to think of what do I want to throw in here. I mean, is there just some value that's floating there? I don't really need another running back. Is there a guy that's likely? I guess Pat Bryant might catch some touchdowns later in the year. Keon Coleman. Been liking to throw Keenan Allen on things late. Think this will be one where we hope the brisket falls back. Usually I only like to take him if you're going to be rolling out the McBride or even Michael Wilson. I'll get him kind of late. Jerry Jeudy in Miami would hit pretty hard here. Got a 2 QB build, so this is the last guy that would take him. This dude's not going 4 quarterbacks with Brissett there, I don't believe. Be shocking if he does, but good for you, sir. He does. Yeah, so there he goes, yeah. Not the guy with 3 quarterbacks, but there goes Brissett. Yeah. We'll do Devon Vele as the Saints wide receiver 3. Okay, so there's the total team, guys. Trevor Lawrence, Tyler Shuck, Devon Achane, Josh Jacobs, Blake Corum, Alvin Kamara, Braylon Allen, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Chris Olave, Christian Watson, Parker Washington, Rashid Shaheed, Travis Hunter, Jerry Jeudy, Devon Vele as a throw-in. Harold Fannin Jr., Brenton Strange, A.J. Barner. Really, really strong tight end room, I think. Again, I think my problem is I keep going a little too fragile at quarterback. Like, when I see people's drafts, I don't know if they would stop at 2 quarterbacks there, so maybe not. Maybe we need to work on it. You know what? I want to do one more draft. That was not enough. Was not enough best ball drafting for me. Even if it's just awkward screen staring, we're doing it. 11. Every time. It's going to be James Cook again. Last time I did James Cook and Marion Hampton. This time we will do James Cook and Saquon Barkley if we can. I prefer O'Marion and even though I have Genty ahead in my rankings right now, I think I am going to fix that pretty soon. I've just decided I'm going O'Marion over Genty. If Amon-Ra falls back again, that's like semi-interesting, and then Christian McCaffrey and Jonathan Taylor. If for some reason we get a chance to do like a really unique build, we will. This is the big talking point of 2026 fantasy football. Should you still be going double hero running back? In my opinion, yes, you should still be going double hero running back. If you're not going to go double hero running back, you have an excellent choice in A.J. Brown to pull up to the turn. Or Drake London. I just prefer A.J. Brown, right? Drake London. You have A.J. Brown attached to Drake May and Josh McDaniel. It's not really close to me between Kevin Stefanski and Tua and Drake May and Josh McDaniel. So if I'm pulling up a wide receiver this turn, it's going to be A.J. Brown. I prefer A.J. Brown to both CeeDee Lamb and Justin Jefferson. I have him as the wide receiver 5 right behind Amon-Ra St. Brown. So perfectly acceptable if you do want to pull him up to the turn, but for me, I'm just going to go ahead and keep taking running back value that I think is way too good to pass up. And then come around at the 3-4 turn and get 2 wide receivers that I think have top 12 upside. Whether or not they hit that upside, I don't know, but I think they're really safe top 20 receivers. I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep building my rosters like that. But certainly the running backs have got, so there you go. You have Christian McCaffrey at 5, get a nice Jackson Smith and Jigba at 6. That's pretty good. Certainly the running backs have gotten lucky with injury luck the last few years, and at some point that is going to regress. Football did not radically change as a sport where running backs no longer get hurt, even though the drafting markets are acting like it. Are you going to be left holding the bag when that happens as a robust RB drafter? It's very possible. If not, I think if you end up with James Cook and Saquon Barkley, James Cook and O'Marion Hampton, James Cook and Ashton Genty, James Cook and Derrick Henry, Devon Achane and Genty, I think if you end up with 2 of those guys at the turn, you're going to come away and you're going to go, wow, I ran my league if they stayed healthy, and that's what I'm chasing. I would not be surprised at all if James Cook catches 50, 60 touchdowns, and he's right there with the Bijan Robinsons and Jahmyr Gibbs of the world, with how good that offense is. So same build we tend to get from 11 because we've gotten 11 so many times. It's, Saquon or Hampton, whatever you're more comfortable with. I am going to just keep taking Hampton. Now, what I didn't do last time I was at this pick, I took Emeka Egbuka at the 3-4 turn and then stacked him with Baker late after taking Godwin in the 8th. This time what we're going to try to do if we come down to that same decision is we're going to take Ladd McConkey, and then we're going to throw Justin Herbert with them in the late 7th round. He should still be there because you're still taking him a little early at that range, and we'll just do like a nice beefed up Justin Jefferson roster. I don't like as much reaching on Gadsden in the 130s, but if we get Ladd and we get Justin Jefferson, we're going to call this a Chargers roster, and we're going to try to go all out and just stack them up everywhere. So we will take Ladd if he's there, and then I'm going to keep taking Josh Jacobs in the 4th. I want to just keep doing that. I keep saying it. He's going to go up 10 to 15 spots in ADP when it's decided he's not missing time because of legal issues. And either way, I'm taking him on these robust RB builds, and I think I can survive a 4-week suspension if the worst should happen. I don't think it's going to. So this is why I'm not a Brock Bowers drafter. You'll sometimes see him go right around in here. I prefer Drake London. I prefer Nico Collins. We see A.J. Brown go early, and then Brock Bowers goes there. I don't think that's a horrific call. If you're going to do that, I can't comprehend taking Jamar Chase over Bijan Robinson. I think that's crazy. I just can't take Brock Bowers certainly above these guys. I think above Rice and Devonta Smith when you're getting in that range, that's defensible. I don't know why I don't like it. Maybe it's because my 2 Brock Bowers rosters really took a beating last year. I mean, one of them actually did win it all, but it won it all in spite of Brock Bowers. It's really hard for me to decide what I'm going to do because the entire fantasy world is so in on it, and I think I feel really good coming away with 2 wide receivers at the turn instead. So look at that. Emeka Egbuka at the 2-3 turn is about as aggressive as I've seen. I love George Pickens. I think George Pickens is a top 12 wide receiver coming into the season, at least an outlook. Love stacking him with Bijan and Brock Bowers because you do possibly have a chance at the tight end or the RB1 and the tight end one-on-one roster. Really good value with Kyron Williams stacking there. Lad at 35 feels a little bit high with these two still on the board. Maybe we can't swing it if these two are still here, but I kind of had a stack I'm gunning for. Um, Jeremiah Love would be really cheap. Brees Hall, I'm kind of cooling off on. I don't know why. I don't like the Jets. And then Zay Flowers is like everyone's new breakout wide receiver one this year. Ugh. We'll check how the elite QB rosters look since that's sort of what we are discussing on here as we go along. Would love. I mean, dude, a drop on Jeremiah Love at this point's awesome. That would be a great start for me. Cook, Hampton, Love. There goes Love. I mean, God, dude, would I just take the fall on Brees Hall at that point because that's so ridiculous? I might have to. I don't think he's gonna stay on the board. I think he goes here. Okay, so we have a shot at a 3-4 turn Brees Hall. I will take that. It's too unique. It's too interesting if it comes down to it. Yeah, yeah. So we're gonna do that. 8 picks past ADP. I think that's a pretty cool combination. Not sure how many rosters are going to come away with that this year. Hopefully, Lad doesn't go here. Lad goes here. Okay. I don't want to be like super aggressively in on the Jets this year. I think we'll take Waddle. No, we'll do Garrett Wilson, and then we're going to have to now stack Geno Smith. What a depressing swing of events to go from. Uh, you have any open? Yeah, so we're getting free Tendies guys weighing in. That's awesome. We will totally set up our free Tendies leagues. I have all the draft time set. I don't really want to move stuff around. Okay, so this is the start. I don't really like taking two Jets there. Maybe I should have just taken Jalen Waddle. I kind of panicked a little bit when Lad went. I thought Lad would for sure be there. But whatever, we're going to get Geno Smith. At what pick am I going to take Geno? Because I'll take him a little bit ahead now that I know I have these guys. 179, probably going to be a Geno Smith pick right there. Maybe we'll take Omar Cooper Jr. to stack it out. I really like the running backs. I probably just should have taken Waddle there because I feel so much better about him. I was hoping Flowers came back so we could stack him with Lamar at the turn. And then there's no like elite quarterbacks. I feel like the round 6 quarterbacks are so mispriced, and so is Lamar at the turn, that I really like having those available to me, and there's none of them that stack with these guys. So not the best robust RB start. I just felt like I had to take Brees Hall when he fell that way. In your guys' home leagues, Devonte Adams will probably be a 5th-round pick. Would highly encourage drafting him. If you're at the 4 or 5 turn, that means that you had a top 4 pick. You should have been able to get, if you had like a top 2 pick, you should have been able to get one of the running backs. If not, you should take Josh Jacobs or Kyron Williams at the turn and have 2 great receivers on there, plus like Tyler Warren or Loveland at the 4 or 5 turn and another receiver. If you finish up, if your third receiver in that sort of build is Devonte Adams, you're looking like if you have Jamar Chase, Devonte Adams, and George Pickens as your 3 wide receivers, and then Kyron or Josh Jacobs anchoring your room, and then at tight end you go Loveland or Warren at the 4 or 5 turn as well. You're looking really good. Those are the kind of builds I'm going to be after in that price range. I'm pretty surprised to see with how high scoring Devonte Adams was as the wide receiver 7 in points per game. Surprised to see him going as late as he is. Would absolutely hate if these 2 running backs don't go off the board if there's like a little run on receiver here, because we could have gotten a pretty good price on DeAndre Swift or Baishal Tootin, and instead we're going to be thinner on receiver because I prefer Jordan Tyson on the comeback. There goes Watson, my favorite receiver at this price. Yeah, this is going to be a bummer if neither of these guys go running back. Yeah, because they probably know I'm not going running back on the turn. Sucks. Jordan Tyson is decidedly my favorite guy, though, at this price, so we're going to take Jordan Tyson. I'll take Lamar Jackson if he comes back. Those guys played that turn really well. Knowing what I was doing with my build was very smart. Something you guys should all be doing in your drafts. Take a Lamar. We can try to stack him with Mark Andrews later because I'm super high on that. There goes Lamar. God. Just brutal. I'm not going to take Tyler Warren over either of these guys because we went three. Yeah. We went 3 running backs to start. We're going to go with that. So what do we have? We have a Shuck stack. We have a Lawrence stack. I could take another Lawrence in the early 8th round. Kind of could just keep doing that because I want to be ahead of market on Lawrence, but then we need to have one of the 2 fallers that's consistently been here, or one of the 2, I guess, guys at cost that I'm a fan of. Quentin Johnson comes all the way back. We will instead we'll take Herbert, stack him with him. Quentin Johnston feels like a guy that's just raising because people started talking about him. I don't know if that's someone I really want to be taking in best ball that often. I think in redraft when he's like a 9th round pick, that's money. But I don't know if I want to like follow the hype train. Another common heuristic that's been going through the fantasy community this summer that I buy, I like it, I'm in on it, is either the Colts severely mispaid for Alec Pierce, just completely got it wrong, or they're going to really expand his usage in 2026. I think they really expand his usage. So that's a guy that I've been super in on. I've been really happy to keep taking. So yeah, we are going to get, hopefully Cortland Sutton survives here. If not, I will actually take Mekhi Lemon. I kind of just prefer Sutton 1-to-1 to him, but we'll take Mekhi Lemon. That's a better ADP value. And then we're going to probably get, I would be surprised if we don't get Trevor Lawrence on the comeback. Tucker Kraft is so well priced here, but I'm feeling pretty skimpy at receiver. I am not liking this receiver room, so we're going to hope that one of the receivers comes back to us. And then we're going to hope that Ricky is there at the next turn. I'm not sure if he will be, but we have a 20-pick stretch to get there. Okay, this would be Kraft. I don't want to take Godwin ahead of Kraft. This is a tough turn. Don't like the way this turn turned out, but yep, there's Kraft. Maybe get a late Strange, stack him with Trevor. Could I push quarterback entirely? Well, there goes Godwin. That would have been who I pushed him for. Okay, we're just going to take Trevor. Luckily, we do not need to worry about running back till the last 2 rounds. We're going to try to go pick 170, whatever we are at, for Geno Smith. That probably means I'm going to bargain bin shop for quarterback here. Maybe take a falling. I like taking Malik Willis just because I think he has floor with his rushing upside. Where would we be at a range to do that? 131 if Malik Willis is there is a very affordable price tag to get us some like floor with some boom weeks. So like a Malik Willis, Geno Smith would be a pretty satisfying way to round this out, which means for the next two picks, we're just going to worry about depth. Probably at, well, I mean, not even probably, just at receiver. We're going to see who comes back. Number one is for sure Ricky Pearsall. Jacoby Myers, I don't like him in a vacuum, but I do like him in the stack. There goes Ricky Pearsall, as he should be. I think Ricky should be going high. Dale, Matthew Golden, Chubb, Casey Concepcion. I just sent out the next round of message to the free Tendies leagues, all 15 of them. People are asking me, do you have other times? Can we move? You absolutely can move. You can do whatever you want because we have 2 weekends with 4 or 5 drafts per day over the last 2 weekends before kickoff. So I know I posted these links too to like check out the video from the Discord if you guys happen to see it. Go in there and do that. Good price on Brock Purdy. But no, I prefer Pittman to Jacoby, but I guess with the stack you have to take Jacoby. I prefer Wandale to Golden, but I think they're pretty similar bets, and I think I want to take the big swing on Concepcion being the lead receiver on the Browns over Romeo Doubs, who will have spike weeks, and I actually think is like maybe a little forgotten by the community. Wow, there goes Jacoby Myers. I'm surprised. I did not know there were Myers Bulls out there. Gainwell and Rashad White are both awesome, but I really don't like how skimpy I am at receiver right now. We can probably get Kamara later. Pittman Jr., I think, clearly leads the Steelers receiver room this year in receptions. Like him. Brock Purdy with a mini slide past ADP. Patrick Mahomes going in the early to... Patrick Mahomes going right about that. I still think that's too early for Mahomes, but at least it's better than what people have been paying. I'll be pretty happy with Pittman here. I think Pittman's a pretty good bet this season. I think he's going to have some spike weeks. I think for the style that... Okay, so he goes, we're going to take Wandale because I've just continually been higher than market on Wandale. And then Matthew Golden and Casey Concepcion is hard for me, but I think Matthew Golden, if Christian Watson goes down, Matthew Golden's a crush, but I also think he just gets... No, you know what? I want to swing. I want to take a big swing on Concepcion. But I think Matthew Golden just gets the 2 wide receiver role because they don't play Jaden Reed in 3 wide receivers or in 2 wide receiver sets. I'm kind of in on Matthew Golden this year. I just prefer those 2 a little bit more, I think, because KC I perceive as like a huge swing, you know. Okay, so here we're going to see, do we get a slide on Shuck or Malik Willis? Both of those I would be pretty thrilled with if they come back around. 18, 132, yeah, so that would be our first pick there if that goes down like that. And then for wide receiver on the back end, Matthew Golden, Romeo Doubs, Jaden Higgins, Rashid Shaheed, and Travis Hunter. And then because we're going to be hunting Geno Smith later, we'll throw Omar Cooper Jr. in there. You know, you've been doing a lot of best ball drafts when you say the phrase unironically, we're hunting Geno Smith, but we are in fact hunting Geno Smith a little bit later. Okay, I think this thing's coming around. Even though I um, went robust RB and then was feeling a little skimpy coming out of the 6-7 turn. Parker Washington. I believe he is the Jags leading receiver this year. So I love the Parker Washington, Trevor Lawrence stack. And then Wandale and KC, it feels like Wandale to me feels like a floor play, but I also think he probably leads the Titans in targets this year. And like he was like a top 20 wide receiver last year in points per game. And Casey Concepcion, I think, is clearly the best receiver on the Browns. Probably an underrated receiver in the draft period. So I'm very happy to start taking him ahead of ADP. I took him at 110 instead of 119. I could have taken Golden or Dobbs if I want to do it here at ADP, but I'm not that worried about it. We'll see. I don't think this draft is my best work, though. We'll try to save it. We'll try to do something with it, but I don't think it's my best work. Dobbs, though, would be the way above ADP guy if he comes down here. We'll grab him if we can. Okay, there goes Shuck. Again, he should be going here. Like, Shuck's a pretty good price. Mark Andrews, so good. Don't ever take Travis Kelce over Mark Andrews when you guys are betting, or, Dalton Kincaid over Mark Andrews. The one that I do think you can take over him is Goddard, because Goddard's probably mispriced as well. Even with the Dobbs value, if he comes back to us, because I'm worried about Trevor Lawrence and Malik Willis isn't great, and I want to make sure we get Geno Smith. We're going to take Malik Willis if he makes it to us, and then worry about... I could take Cam Ward. If Malik Willis goes, I could go wide receiver first and then take Cam Ward on the back end. I would much prefer Malik Willis to Cam Ward because I think he's going to rush so goddamn much, but... Let's see what happens. I should start stacking Cam Ward, though, because I'm so in on Wandale. Seems like that's a smart correlation, but ideally here, we're going to get Malik Willis and Travis Hunter for our Trevor Lawrence stack. Cool. Yep, we're doing it. Put it in the QB article. Malik Willis is about the last tier of like startable quarterback I think you're going to get in redraft. I would actually prefer to draft him in best ball over Patrick Mahomes. But I don't. They were talking about that on Fantasy Pros today, that you should be drafting Malik Willis as your 0 QB target. Take Baker Mayfield instead. Don't take Malik Willis. Okay, so Travis Hunter, really strong addition there. I keep throwing him into these Parker Washington, Trevor Lawrence stacks. I love that. 20 picks away at 158. He is almost certainly not getting back to us, but we would certainly take Dallas Goedert, Oronde Gadsden, Brenton Strange. I would like. Geno Smith, we don't have to worry about till the next set of turns. We're going to see. I'm not going to load up the queue yet. We still have 18 picks. We're going to see who comes back. Getting payments coming in for the free Tendies leagues. Thank you, guys. Saves me stressing out, not knowing whether or not you're going to do it. Getting some Reddit comments on the article still. Let's go. So McMillan also just feels like a good dart throw at cost back here. Again, I don't think, he's almost certainly not getting there. Any of these three, I think, are a really nice boom. It's made especially Strange because of the stack. Brenton Strange, I don't know what the fantasy community doesn't see. The Fantasy Points film guys were talking about just how good he looked in isolation on film last year, too. Dude, I don't know. I have to decide, right? Am I really going to go into this year and just go hardcore 0 tight end, 0 quarterback and beef out my rosters and try to trade for one at the last minute before the playoffs? It's heading that way. It's trending that way. But that seems like a little bit unstable. It seems like you can eliminate some of the more risky variables if you don't do that. But I'm very tempted to. Every day I'm getting closer and closer to it. Trey Hampton. Jonah Coleman is by far my favorite running back at this range. Like I've been saying every one of these, I think he's going to get some play this year. I think it's a matter of if, not when, he gets run. Ryan Flournoy, another favorite of mine. Boom bust wide receiver who I would be shocked if we don't take weeks from him. Dallas Goedert, that's incredible at 150. Someone should absolutely be jumping on that. And then what? I guess we are going to go Geno Smith. Could you do a Kenyon Sadiq? I would just rather not, to be honest with you. Don't really want to bet on rookie tight ends. I think that's a Brenton Strange or Jonah Coleman if it comes back. 2 tight end. Okay, so 1 tight end, 1 tight end. Almost certainly Brenton Strange is going here. We're going to live with. That was a big stretch to expect him to come back beyond ADP. Ooh, he survived 1 of them, but I don't think he survives 2 of them. Nice, he survives 2. Let's go. Late Brenton Strange tight end stack with Trevor Lawrence. That is freaking awesome. Almost dropped an F-bomb. That is fantastic. I don't want to take Kenyon Sadiq now, but we are going to now reach on Geno Smith when we can. All the way up at the top. Okay, and Jonah Coleman past ADP. Cool. 2 of my absolute favorites at this price. So we'll wrap that up with a little Braylon Allen if we can, and then actually, absolutely, we are going to keep taking Alvin Kamara at cost as well. I wonder when he's going to start going because he has not properly pulled up yet, and he absolutely should be. Juwan Johnson, Kenyon Sadiq, AJ Barner, Cade Otton, Greg Dulcich with the stack probably has to be up pretty high there. Terrence Ferguson's more of like if I get a late round value on him, I'll take it. I don't want to like start reaching on that. Okay, lots of good ways to round this out, but we do need Geno Smith to fall just a little bit. Not fall just a little bit, but we need someone to not reach on him just a little bit. Yeah, so this would be, as much as I love like some of these tight ends in this price range, and even though I don't really need the extra running back, so maybe it's a little weird, but for me, you know what? I'm going to leave it at Kraft and Strange, I think. And I'm going to shoot for these 2 because I would like some more receivers in this build. Geno Smith is just not a big target for me, but when you have Hall and Garrett Wilson, you are sort of betting that he's going to be competent, so I think you should go all the way with that bet. And who knows, maybe he has a week 16 explosion or something, and that's what determines how you do. Probably Kamara's off the board by the time I'm going, so it may not even be a decision here. If not, I do really like Debo and Isaac Tesla way past ADP. The Dulcich stack with Malik Willis is kind of calling my name. Yeah, so there goes Kamara, as he should be. As he should be. The market needs to adjust to that. Okay, so how do these 2 guys picking behind me at the turn? Or how does the guy at the turn, what does he have? Jordan Love, Lamar Jackson. Kind of feels like he wouldn't take Geno, but I don't want to risk it. So we're just going to take Gino, assuming this dude does not swoop him from us at the last minute, which would be such a buzzkill. Okay. That's Geno Smith. So what are we at? 7, 13, 15. Could take a tight end here. And then go for Braylon Allen late. But I think I would just take Debo. Yeah, I'm probably just going to take Debo and hope one of those tight ends makes it back. They probably don't, but that's good. That's 18 picks past ADP for Debo. I do want a third tight end in this set, and then I do really, really want. You know what's funny is I haven't been taking him with. I guess it's kind of a weird thing to take him with Hall because if he really hits, Hall didn't, and your roster is probably dying, so maybe that's a bad bet. But I think Braylon Allen's one of your best bets for floating your roster with scores each week. Yeah. I do want a tight end. I don't know if one of them's going to survive based on that recent hit. Guess I can throw in a little David Njoku. Maybe he's catching passes for the Chargers. Cool. Got a response from Andrew Cooper, the dude who, the big guy on Twitter who actually pushed me to post on Reddit. So I thought I would give it a try on the fantasy football Reddit. That's really cool to get a response from him. Cool. I'm really trying hard, man. I'm trying hard to make good stuff for you guys. I think that's so cool that so many people subbed and read. Yeah, just gonna try to keep making good content. Trying to make redraft oriented content. I don't know how to say it euphemistically. Best ball is like the maybe a little bit more loose moraled woman that you have a great night with, but redraft is the one you date, and you love, and you marry. That's kind of how I've been conceptualizing it. So I don't know. Redraft is my love. Best ball is like a really fun way to kind of get it out of your system, and I'm playing way more of it than I thought I would be this year, but I ultimately think redraft is where the heart and soul of fantasy is. So most of my content will be redraft oriented, and some of it a little more beginner oriented too. I love the fantasy data points, guys. I think they're so good. The fantasy points data, guys. I think they're so good, but kind of the way that they, I don't know, demeaned or degraded. They kind of said, like, we make content for people that max tournaments. We don't make content for these low stakes fantasy drafters. And it was so weird. I don't know. Just because you spend $50 on a buy-in instead of $500, I do understand there's more severity to it, but like you can love fantasy and you can love football just as much. And to treat those guys like they don't really matter, I thought was a little bit of a bummer to hear Theo Greminger say that on his way out. To me, it's like I started out playing one $50 league a year and it meant everything to me. And then, 10 years later, I'm looking at spending like 5 figures on fantasy buy-ins because I really got into it. But I was just as much of a fan of fantasy football and just as into things when I first started as when, now I've just put more hours into it. I don't know. I think the industry as a whole is moving towards these big money makers, especially as betting money flows into the space. And I think I'm kind of trying to be a redraft focused content guy. That's what I care about. So Cade Otton here at pick whatever, 16 picks past ADP. Trying not to swear. There he goes. Oh, that was such a good price on Cade Otton. Oh, that was such a good price on Cade Otton. God, but we will take Braylon Allen here. Again, I know it's maybe a little bit of a weird call because if he's scoring, is Breece Hall scoring? I just think Braylon Allen profiles as someone who's going to fall into the red zone quite a bit. And then Gesicki and Njoku is a little weird, but I think probably Njoku has a better chance to catch some touchdowns. So I'm fine with either of them. Maybe Gesicki just because of the nature of... Okay. Okay, guys, so that is the team. again, just trying to continually get this stuff out there, so we have a nice footprint online. Feel free to watch back. This one's going to be a little bit more boring than the other ones where I really had like a topic to talk about. I felt like there was a lot of dead air, but that just is what it is. I'm not going to say nonsense if it's not important. Okay, quarterback room. Actually feel good about this for going pretty late. Trevor Lawrence, Malik Willis, Geno Smith. Running back room, James Cook, Marion Hampton, Brees Hall, Jonah Coleman, and Braylon Allen. Jonah Coleman's like the big upside swing there late. Braylon Allen's just a float, someone who's going to give you some level of points on bye weeks or if someone gets injured for a week or two. Garrett Wilson, not the biggest fan this year, but I do want to keep mixing him in. Maybe I could have taken Jalen Waddle. Jordan Tyson, my favorite 6-round wide receiver or 5-6 turn wide receiver. Parker Washington, I believe the wide receiver one for the Jags, so I keep taking him at cost. Wan'Dale Robinson, I believe his ADP will rise. I think he leads the Titans in receptions this year. Casey Concepcion, I believe he is the Browns' leading receiver this year. Maybe overall the leading receiver is Harold Fannin Jr., but I think Casey Concepcion is their receiver that is most productive for fantasy. Travis Hunter with Trevor Lawrence, I will take the stack. What do we get out of him this year? I don't know. Debo Samuel almost certainly signs somewhere. He was a wide receiver too for most of last season. Tucker Kraft, undervalued, sneaky candidate to finish top 3 at tight end this year, especially if Christian Watson gets hurt. Bretton Strange, sneaky back end tight end 1 candidate, one of my favorite QB or tight end 2s on the season. And Gesicki, just sort of hoping he has one of his random spike weeks that he has, as he is prone to do. I don't know. Can I look at my completed drafts? Where do I look at my exposures? I think results is from like last year. I should show my exposures at some point on here. Is it maybe if I go to like NFL, is there a section for exposures? Active, completed. That's 2026. No. Okay. We'll figure that out some other time. But thank you guys so much for watching. We are going to keep working on these. And I look forward to